Let's fucking get it, boys! Let's get it! Ah! What is up, you huge noobs? Noobscape back at you again, and here with another Inferno Cape review. You know, I love doing these, and I have actually this one and another one queued up. You're more than welcome. Anyone could be submitting these, and just join our community Discord. You could either put them in there, message me on there, message me through YouTube, upload it to your YouTube. I don't care. Your method delivery is up to you. I seem to be putting out instructions in the beginning here. Seems no one really follows, and they kind of just make up their own, but I'm rolling with it as we go, having a great time, and I hope you all guys could all learn something. Without further ado, let's get in. You know, thank you very much, Frieza Saga, for submitting your playthrough. It's going to help yourself as well as everyone else, I hope. And by the way, just a reminder, everyone join our community Discord. You know, we're moving out more than just Inferno. We're going into bossing, you know, just chilling and chatting. And, you know, it'd be great to see you guys hop in there. So let's get into this. So it is only wave 30 in this playthrough, but I can tell you do know what you're doing. You're doing a good job staying in the safe spot, just focusing on the nibblers for now as your first priority. And then letting the your other threats come in, like such as the bat. And this ranger is a difficult position. One thing you didn't do is you could have went to this position. Oops, I clicked a little bit off. You could have went to this position a little bit earlier and potentially drug him within your. I noticed you're only doing this in the ACB. So you would have to be like blood barraging him is probably your best bet. You could gain back a little bit of HP. Instead, you chose kind of just to sit here, and I noticed you're thinking, because you're thinking about moving to the other pillar, maybe bailing out of here, which is your best move. But potentially, you could have moved to this safe spot a little bit earlier, taking care of that ranger, and then potentially been able to kill that before the melee even dug to you. But the fact that when you realize that this situation is happening, the fact that you know to switch over to range, you didn't have Pray Piety on, which could have definitely, or actually in this case, since you're praying range, you would want to have Augury on. You could easily be praying Augury and just you are 72 HP, so you can take like one hit, but 2 hits would put you in a bad spot. If you prayed Augury while running over, it would have made, and you need to be in this safe spot because now this blob's going to be able to attack you. I know you kind of wanted it alerted over here, but always like having the option to, because if you stayed here and this melee digs, you can you would step out here to be attacking the blob, and then if the melee digs, you go back to this spot and this blob can attack you. You don't have the option to re-safe spot this blob because it got drug around this corner, and you beat it before the melee dug too, so that's fine, but it's just better off being safe like that in the future. And this here wave 31 is probably the most difficult one before you get the ranger or the major spawning. It's got 2 blobs in it and a melee. You did a really good job. I actually do like how you were sitting here, running up and just barraging it and coming back, thinking about just killing the nibblers, because right now you're 62 HP, you could be playing a little bit more aggro. You're only taking the 1 mage hit from the blob, which is fine. And at this point you realize, okay, so you're in danger, you're in 38 HP, this is lethal if you get unlucky with like the melee or possibly coming over and tagging you, and the bat there, or the blob there. So this is me. I would be brewing, and I would be praying Augury. It's a good thing you prayed Augury this time when you're running over. I wouldn't chance this. 38 HP, I would be brewing, because 1 hit. Now, see, this is why you should brewed earlier, because you actually could have died there. I noticed you are eating now, and you're in a fine situation now, but you should have slapped that brew on a little bit earlier, especially because when you ran out of that safe spot, you were going to be potentially getting comboed by 2 blobs. That melee might have got unlucky and dug over your way, but you didn't have to deal with that. This is an amazing job recognizing the safe spot, but now it's going to suck because this melee, you're not going to be able to the safe spot over there. I'm going to watch you just play this through, and I'm going to rewind it back there to show you what you could have potentially done. And you have your Ring of Recoil active, because I saw that just activated, which is pretty interesting. But overall, good job dealing with the situation. Let's go back here a few seconds and just see what I would have done. Okay, at this situation, I would have brewed a little bit earlier. Over here, you have all 3 of these safe spotted right now. I noticed that you're panicking a little bit. If you just stay in this corner safe spot, you would have been fine to potentially kill just the blob. I noticed that you're taking a long time to react to this. You had no reason to run over to this side here. This safe spot on the corner was completely fine. You can DPS 1 blob with blood barrage on. This is out of blowpipe range. You blood barrage the blobs. The blobs actually don't have high mage defense, so if you put on blood barrage, you keep your prayer switches going, you pray Augury, you kill this, and then you reduce it down to the 3 aspects of it, and even if the melee does dig you, by that time you just pray melee and you kill the other 2 with blood barrage. You gain your HP back, because this ranger isn't going to go anywhere it's safe spotted. This blob isn't going to go anywhere it's safe spotted. You only have 1 thing you have to kill before the melee digs. You could have easily done it from this. Instead, you choose to go over here, which is really bad. Although you weren't taking damage from either blob, now you're risking the Melior digging, you just wasted all that time. And now the only way to safe spot this Melior from this spot, because you're not going to be able to get rid of the range. You don't want to walk over here and get hit by everything. You would have to like lure the melee back all the way around this side and step over here. You would be taking on 2 blobs at once. It was just a bad decision. We should have just stayed on that far side of the pillar, DPS down to one of the blobs first. You would have avoided how to running all the way over here, taking all this damage, brewing up, wasting resources. All that could have been saved. And just as a, I just realized this right now. You're not using SGS. You're going to be put at a massive disadvantage not using an SGS. I would totally recommend, if you have the money, I noticed that your setup is pretty bare bones for like a Justicar Fire Cape or Inferno Cape. I would 100% recommend just grinding out Zulrah for a few hours, getting up to being able to buy an SGS, because the amount of resources and HP it'll save you is just massive. Like, I cannot even describe to you how much more prayer and HP you'll be saving, especially when you get the SGS spec blobs during the middle of the waves. But let's get on here to the next thing I noticed you can improve on. Okay, just a little bit of the technique. If something's coming down a pillar like this and you're on a north or south space spot, use the corner safe spots. Right now, you are in the only one of the 3 squares you could possibly be standing on the pillar that is not a corner safe spot. You either choose one side or you choose the other side. And the side you're standing on, that's the minion you're not going to kill. You're going to kill the opposite side first. If you're standing in the middle, both these are going to attack you at the same exact time, and now you have to kill 2 at once. Not something you want to be doing, because when you reduce these down to blobs here in a few seconds, now you're just going to be taking all this unnecessary damage, wasting unnecessary prayer that didn't have to be done if you just took them on one at a time. You need to be using these corner safe spots a lot more. They're extremely valuable. So let's see what you do on this wave. I noticed a very, very slight mistake you made. You did very good, noticing that if you can't kill the blobs, you come all the way down here. But you made, I want to play that back again, because you made such a very, very small error in a very, very quick amount of time, and you realize when you made it. Right here, that's a misclick. You missed the click box. I'm going to zoom in now of this nibbler by the most smallest fraction of a time. And if you ever realize you click a you miss a hitbox, my advice to you is you can, on the same exact tick, if you click to move somewhere and then you click to move somewhere else, if it's on the same tick, it'll only the game will only recognize you click on one space. So if you click here and then here, it'll only register your most recent tile you click to move on. You can save yourself potentially from walking out in the range of this mage, a blob, and bat and melee potentially. You can stop yourself from moving out here, because that's what your next move is. If you click here and you click attack, it probably won't save you. My utmost advice here is if you click here and then you click back, it's better, because right now you clicked to move and then you clicked attack and you drug your character out because you already started to move slightly. If it was me, I would have, and I noticed I misclicked, I would have clicked back here. Now you're going to be in trouble. You're in a really good safe spot because you're able to take off both nibblers without taking any damage from this mage minion. You need to be switching your prey to melee here. Oh, the melee actually got trapped on that bat. That's insane. You could prey range. I would be barraging that nibbler though before I take down these two, because remember, the nibblers are priority number 1. That nibbler, especially if you're especially if you're praying range, isn't going to do much of anything. And you could pray melee. Please just barrage that nibbler. Yes, there you go. That nibbler should have been prioritized before that bat minion. But the fact now that you got it and you're keeping these pillars high, I really do like that. Like 46, the mages are out, and look how much HP. There's so many people that don't keep these pillars high, and then later on the waves they pay for it. I really like how you're prioritizing the HP of that. Even though you could be using an SGS, and saving more resources, the fact that your pillars are high is going to help you pay off later on. And I think you're one of the first people I reviewed that I could actually say that to. So congratulations. You definitely have a lot more skill than me when I got my Inferno Cape. I know you haven't got yours yet, but believe me, with enough practice, and if you continue playing like this, you'll 100% get to your triple jads, get familiar with Zuck, and get your cape. So I noticed what you're doing here. This is a very minor thing, and I don't know if I do a really good job of my guide describing this. If you're going to click on a mage minion and run, you did miss one prayer flick there. Not a big deal. If I was going to strap something else, but if this happens, yeah, you need to be brewing or SGS specking. If it was me and I had the SGS, I would be running up to the SGS and dropping 2 hits on him. You don't have the SGS. Very, very unfortunate. One of the first people I've ever seen try to do the Inferno Cape without an SGS on them for the first time. You're going to be definitely suffering for that, especially in your brews. I would recommend bringing 2 extra brews if you don't run an SGS, maybe 1 to 2 more. I don't think 8 brews starting is enough for you. But just a matter of advice, if you're attacking a mage minion over here, and you have whatever behind it that you don't need to actually be prayer flicking until you run back. You're doing a good job of switching when you run back, and then mage before run back, switch your prayer to range. You should be going from the other side of the pillar. Get this. So when you move from this side of the pillar, because the way the minions stack is they always stack on like towards the right side, this minion wastes 1 tick walking over to the side to see you before you can attack it. If you move from this other side, you could actually have walk on. You walk out, and at the same tick you walk out, you attack it, you can move back. You could actually attack 1 tick quicker on this other side, and I hope I have video footage of me doing it, and I'm going to be showing it right now. Believe me, from the left side of the pillar, if you step out, you walk, you attack, you walk back. It's 1 tick as opposed to having to run out an extra few squares and wasting all the run energy, wasting time. It's a little bit more maniacal on you, and believe me, it's worth it in the long run. Alright, so what you did here is a big fat nope. You did a really good job of the Baneling Wave, and then you did less good as it went on. You barraged 2. I think you got the kill on 2, and your first instinct is to run over here. You can. I'm going to rewind it. You can be quicker on this, believe me, and this does come in practice. You should be always running back, but you should always, out the corner of your eye, just be looking for a major somewhere. If you can't see it, run back here. But if you can see the major and you know that your worst threat's here, there's no need to run back to this safe spot, which is what you do. You could have just stayed where you are, and you realize it now a little bit later, but that could have been quicker. You didn't need to do that, and you could have already switched your prayer off mage to like range to try to catch one of the blobs, and then to melee quick. And then now I know I say I don't prayer flick all the time, and that's using all 3 of the prayers, but it's not some crazy prayer tick flicking crap. I would have just left it on melee, as I would have killed this last blob within these 3 tiles, which is what you're doing right now correctly. But right here was where you make your mistake. You got to think of where you're going to run, and here's not your best option. You got to run through your options here. Your mage, your biggest threat, is isolated. You have your blob over here, which won't attack you, your bats over here, and your meleeer is conveniently safe spottable. You could either safe spot them on this side, which I wouldn't recommend doing, but of course, if you go to this safe spot, 1 behind this square, this is the melee safe spot. This melee minion would be pushed against the side of the pillar, unable to attack you. You would isolate just the mage, and the beauty of this is you would be able to kill the mage first. The only thing is, since you're not using a T-bow, you may not be able to kill this mage before the meleeer digs to you, but it's not a big deal. In that case, since you're running ACB here, I would run to this square, be just praying mage, and then blow pipe down the mage or the meleeer. If it revives, who cares? You just do the same thing over again while you're praying mage when it digs to you, or you run safe spots from there. But I would have went to this safe spot, prioritize either this minion or this, whatever, killed it. If the meleeer even does dig to you, you could potentially move over to the spot you're currently standing on. The major and meleeer would both be safe spotted. You could take out one of the bats and the blobs. That way would have been much better than choosing to run all the way over here. Now look at all this damage you're taking, and you don't have your Justicar on. Remember, please, put your Justicar on. You didn't even attempt to put it on, dude. I'm just going back 10 seconds. You took all of this damage and you didn't need to. It's Pray Mage, Paideon or Augury, whatever you want to do, and Justicar on. The entire point of why you are running Justicar, and this is what makes me frustrated, is so that when you're running pillars, when the mages are out, you always have Justicar on. This is the #1 use for Justicar. When you're running, when you're escaping, when you're being a big fat noob like me and you're resetting running between these 2 pillars, which if you run to this pillar and then run back, it'll almost solve every single wave guaranteed. I guarantee right now. If you don't know how to solve a wave, run this pillar with Justicar on, run back to that pillar with Justicar on, it'll be solved by then. You put it on when you run, and it just makes me really upset that you didn't put it on when you run, because it either shows that you panic too much, and you're also not going to this corner safe spot, which is where you should be going, especially since you need time to brew up, and now the melee minion's going to be digging to you, and because you're not in this safe spot, what you could have done is you could have went 1 back, attacked the blob, realized the mage came back, went back to this safe spot, and then prayed melee, and that blob wouldn't have been able to attack you. It would have been stuck behind the side of the pillar, but you made it wrap around. You could have just been isolating the melee. Instead, now you're choosing to run back, and your Justicar is still not on, and that's what's making me really mad. And you still don't put it on, and you put it on now, and you're not even taking a single hit because he hit you with range, and you were too late to get that attack anyway. So congratulations, you actually really frustrated me that you didn't put your Justicar on for either of those runs. I know you survived, but you used way too many brews to do so, and you chose not to use the correct safe spots. You didn't actually even need to run all the way over to this pillar and all the way back. The good thing you did this, yes, you did prioritize the nibblers. You didn't have to deal with all the nibblers when you were doing all this crazy running stuff. At this point, I would wait for the melee to dig you, yeah, and I would also blood barrage it because you're low on HP. So that's good that you recognize these sort of moves. I also like that you're re-equipping your blood barrage instead of punching it, which I've seen so many people do. But You got to use these corner safe spots a lot more. That's your number one issue. And sometimes I notice that running pillars, I always say if you don't know how to solve a pillar, just run to the other pillar, put your Justicar on, but you're not putting your Justicar on, and you're also not recognizing the appropriate time of when to transition pillars. It's something you could work on. I'm just playing this one through because I think you did a phenomenal job. For as bad as I roasted you the last game or the last round, I want to just point out everything you did correctly here. You're prioritizing the nibblers. You ran back because you realized, hey, the melee is attacking you. And you realized, hey, since the nibblers went over this pillar, I'm going there too. I'm following my target. You have your Justicar on. Your Augury's on. As you're coming over, you're DPSing down the nibblers. You're out of the range of the melee, so you're not taking ever aggro from him. I love that kite. I love that kite from the melee. You recognize you still have one on. The melee is still safe spotted. And at this point, you think, hey, I'm going to switch back to my Justicar and barrage it. Just beautiful, beautiful moves. And you're going to go back and you're going to get it again. And since you've Justicar on, you're just taking absolutely no damage. You're still not within the melee range. You run back and you flick melee before the mage could attack you again. This is what I want to be seeing. If you can play like this, you're going to get your cape. Phenomenal job of switching. This was the perfect time to switch pillars. Amazing job following the nibblers. Amazing job attacking the nibblers as you came over. Amazing job kiting the melee minion. Amazing job wearing Justicar. Just overall, an amazing wave. I'm actually really, really happy what you did. It was almost like a different player is playing right now, or you're hacking. Either one. I just want to say really good use of Justicar here again. You have just the legs on when you start. Honestly, if it's me, yeah, Augury always on the start. You notice that you kill one, and you went to the safe spot because you're trying just to only let that ranger get one attack on you per one attack on the nibbler. I like the fact that you're minimizing that and drawing the ranger close to you. You also realize, hey, I'm going to the other pillar. Great time to transition. Full Justicar comes on. As you're running, you kite it. You slap down one barrage with the Augury on. You do get it, even though you have full Justicar on. And this is why Justicar is amazing. You just face tanked it. You weren't switching, which is what I do anyway. And you ran across. This is amazing play here. You are really using Justicar well, especially on these later waves. I was having doubts early on. The fact that I just watched you run across two pillars without it on at all. You're playing it really well now. You notice that, hey, you got full HP. You're just going to kill the nibblers, which you successfully do. And since these blobs are pretty much all out of range, you really don't want to deal with them. This is a really good time to pillar transition. You put your Justicar on for it, and it's just honestly amazing. You are taking a little bit of extra time. You can take blobs a lot, but you didn't actually have full Justicar on the whole time you're doing that, so that was a little bit crazy. Would have ran over a little bit sooner, but Justicar, baby, you're just full HP, and at this point you step to the corner safe spot, you just take out the blob. It's an easy solve from here. I just wanted to point it out that you did a really good job just focusing the nibbler, staying calm using your Justicar. Sometimes you do well with Justicar and you notice where you're moving right, and sometimes you're just very wrong. You didn't have Ice Barrage on there, which isn't good. You killed all three of them on the first hit anyway, but the hesitation here is terrible. You prayed melee without actually running, which means you got hit once. You can actually, the second this guy attacks, just run over here and then pray melee later, because you're still going to have another tick delay. This was not the move to be making at all. All you needed to do was just run to this spot, pray melee, you kill the meleeer, and then the mage drops down, you kill the major, and that's the easiest order to solve it, believe me. You didn't need to run over here. This was completely pointless. You just ran over here pretty much for no reason, and it just wasn't the correct time to transition. And yeah, I would be moving over there. I know, you were waiting for the meleeer to dig. That's one strat, I guess, but you didn't really need to do any of that if you just stayed over here and made the pillar transition. Oh, it didn't actually transition enough. You didn't leave it on, and now you're flicking. Now you decide to whip out the flicking. In this situation, one hit. This is not good. I haven't watched this far. You potentially might die here. Any one of these flicks could be it. They are two ticks apart, so you have a decent time to transition, and you did do the tick flick. This is ballsy. I would never have done this. If you stayed on that pillar, you would no need to even get in this situation in the first place. Damn, that's risky, bro. Ooh, a little bit unprepared wave here. A little bit unprepared. The Ice Barrage isn't even on. You can see it right there. A little bit of panic comes through. It's a Blood Barrage. And you did take one hit. Honestly, in this situation, you just kill the melee. You just kill the melee first. You just get rid of it. There's too much panic. There's too much late. Even I'm kind of discombobulated at this point because your melee's low. If it was me, it would be specking. I would be using SGS if I had it, which you don't. I'd be using Blood Barrage. And from here, this is Justicar on, and you run pillars, and you barrage it on your way. You have 57 HP. With Justicar on, you're good. I don't think... You're leaving the nibbler. So this is what I would not do. Because you're forced to take out the ranger first, stepping out and prayer flicking. You left nibbler up. And you're one hit. You didn't pray mage in time. Yeah, you're dead. What we just saw was a complete breakthrough, dude. A complete breakthrough, dude. All right, let's watch it back and break down every point where you went wrong. First of all, you're not ready. You're not full HP, which I would never do this late in the wave. Your prayer is fine. You're praying mage, but you're not praying the augury. You're not ready. You don't even have ice barrage on. So you throw down you panic. You throw down a late blood barrage. You don't have augury on. You're not full HP. You get a 26 drop. So, and you already hit 22. You're at 77 HP. This isn't good. So my first instinct is you have these pillars high. I know that because I've been watching your pillar HP. Your pillar HP is good. The whole reason why you have it is so that on wave 58, on a wave like this where you need it, you cash into that check. You say, you know what, I'm not gonna even bother this. You probably got 2 down, and now you get hit a 37 from that range hit. So you switch to pray melee here, which you did just in time, and you blood barrage this. I don't think the blowpipe was the move because you could get back. You don't have SGS. You want to get back that 30 HP as high as possible. Instead, you just choose to blowpipe it. I would be blood barraging that. So then your next thing is you say, hey, you have 57 HP. You have 2 choices. You could, remember, let's go back 5 seconds. I just want to prove it. You still have a nibbler. But again, this pillar HP is so high that you could even potentially kill one of these. It's not that big of a deal. If it was my opinion, honestly, in this situation, I would have the full Justicar. I would run over and I would SGS spec it on my way over. I call that the Noobscape special. You're only having to tank really that one mage minion, which with Justicar on because of the damage reduction, you're not going to be lethal from here. So you have mage, Piety, full Justicar with your SGS, and you melee spec out once and you run over the other side as you're doing it. You would be completely fine, and then you have a stack solve over there. You would potentially be higher HP because you barraged. But what you chose to do is you didn't brew up and you didn't equip your Justicar. And I would never, if you don't have an Inferno Cape yet, I would never recommend you do a pillar solve when you could potentially get 1 hit. This would be, you actually don't have any brews. That might have played into your situation, and SGS could have helped. But at least one thing I do want to point out is I am happy that you used all of your brews. Wait, let's see why did that attack you? Oh yeah, you just did it 1 tick late. Overall, I am happy you used all your brews. We would totally recommend you getting an SGS. It'll help you on those brews, but also your decision making will help you too. And I hope maybe this guide will help you and others like you improve on the Inferno. If you ever need any help, I'm always on my Discord. I recommend everyone join it. I just randomly join chat and Discord and then chill and chat. And if I'm ever in there, you guys can come to me and talk to me. It doesn't even need to be about RuneScape. I'm just there. I'm for you guys. If you ever need live help, I always do live coaching through a Discord. I've helped multiple people get their Inferno Capes live, and I'm more than willing to keep this going. It's all for the community. I love giving back to you. I love playing this game, and I love making Inferno guide videos. So without further ado, you have a great night, everyone, and I'll see you later.
Let's get it, boys! Let's get it!